JC, how's the Meatloaf concert the other night? It was alright, mate, it was alright. I've never been to a Meatloaf concert before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. What I was picturing was it being filled with a lot of biker tattoo types, to be honest, but to my surprise, most of the people there were quite normal. One thing I did notice though, that none of them referred to him as Meatloaf. If you referred to him as Meatloaf, they looked at you like you just shat on the floor. They all called him either the Loaf or Meat. I had a bloke behind me who was very annoying. I always get these sort of people at concerts. I don't know why it is that attracts them, but for some reason he thought that I'd rather listen to him singing than the actual act that I'd paid good money to see. Every time the chorus was coming along, he was screaming his tripe out. I felt like turning around saying, "Do you mind, mate? I've bloody spent a fortune on these tickets. I don't need to be hearing your bad karaoke. I'd rather listen to the bloke I've paid to see." Now, I've been a Meatloaf fan probably for about the last 20 years. When I say fan, I mean I have his CDs. I don't like stalk him or anything like that. And there was no start-up band, so he just came out. And the first thing I noticed that he was limping. And to be honest with you, I was quite concerned because after the first song, he looked like he was ready to drop. I couldn't believe it. I know to be fair, he's 65 years old, and a lot of the songs that he does are for young people. And obviously, when he first started performing them, he was young. So you could see that although he was struggling physically, he still put on a good show. He also had a limp, which didn't fill you with confidence because every time he moved from A to B, which quite frankly wasn't that often, he was limping around like some old dude with a Zimmer frame. So I don't know if you've listened to Meatloaf much, Dave, but he does some of the best love ballads and rock anthems that you'll ever hear. But the first thing I noticed was that when he hits the high notes, because he's always flipping chewing gum, all you could see in the bottom left hand corner of his mouth was a bit of Wrigley's, and after a while it kind of grated on you a bit because you find yourself focusing on it. It's like when you go on a date with a girl and she's got a spot in the middle of her forehead. That's all you could look at, and it became a bit, you just couldn't stop looking, and I found it a bit awkward to start with. Another thing that he had a habit of doing was he was basically spitting like a footballer every time between verses, and when the old riffs would come on between songs, he'd put up do a good hock and flob onto the floor, and because it zoomed in and we were quite close as well, all you could see was a big bit of spit hitting the floor, and I don't need to be seeing that. Why do you need to do that? That's the most disgusting thing ever. I don't know why people need to spit on the floor at the best of times, but especially not when you're in front of a good few thousand people. So it was at the O2 in London, and because it's an arena and I was downstairs in the stand in the seating section, well, they call it seating section, but you might as well be standing, because as soon as he comes out at the beginning, everyone at the bloody front stands up, so everyone behind it, everyone stands up. It's pointless buying a seat really. You might as well, by the end of it, 2 hours you're flipping back skipping your jip. So like, why do you have to stand up? Just sit down. You paid for a seat. I don't think it makes much difference if you stood up. You're still going to enjoy it. Bloody sit down. Yeah, so I thought that I'd leave after the encore. Basically, the encore consisted of I heard one song, and he started another one. I'd never heard of it, so I thought I'm going to get out of it and try and beat the queues for the tube. So I set off on the way, but because halfway up the stairs I realised that there was this massive unit also having the idea of trying to leave early, holding up everybody. I might as well have stayed at the bottom and just stuck it out really, because I got out no sooner than I would have done anyway. She was just blocking up the whole flipping corridor. So what are you doing? Just sit down. But anyway, yeah, to answer your question, Dave, I had a good time. He's still got it. He's getting on a bit, but he has still got it. Would I see him again? I doubt he'd be doing it again, to be honest. They said it's a farewell tour. I hope it is, because he's already had one heart attack, and there's no point tempting fate and trying to bring on another one. He's had his swan song. He done a good job. Everyone had a good time. Meatloaf, over and out. Hi guys, thanks for listening. Hit like if you found this video entertaining, and please hit subscribe to hear more from me in the future.